Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be doing a little reading vlog. And we're doing this vlog because we are celebrating school being back in session. And my house is quiet. Everything is like as it should be during the day when I'm working. And so we are going to be celebrating going back to school with reading a little dark academia. Now, I am actually kind of nervous about this reading vlog because I have 3 books that have intimidated me and I have been scared of since the minute I put them on my bookshelf. So, the books that we will be reading in this vlog: The Atlas Six by Olivia Blake. I have said this time and time again. I don't know what it is with this book. It terrifies me. But we're going to be reading it in this vlog. We have Hellbent. This is book 2 of the 9th house. I don't know how many books are going to be in the series. I don't know if it's going to be a trilogy or not, but this is book 2. I read book 1 a few months ago, and we're going to be diving into the second book. And then we have If We Were Villains. This is intimidating to me because I've heard it's very Shakespeare heavy, and I'm not really a Shakespeare fan, so I don't know how this is going to go. So those are the 3 books that we're going to be reading. Now, I checked on Libby because anytime I have a book that is either intimidating to me or I think I'm going to have a hard time reading, I immediately look at Libby, Hoopla, and Audible and Kindle to see if there's an audio version available, because I would much rather have an audio version if I kind of on the back burner, like just ready for me, with the expectation that it's going to be too difficult to focus on a physical book. So I have on Libby already, I checked it out, I did a search, and I currently have The Atlas Six and Hellbent borrowed on Libby. If We Were Villains, I could not find available right now, so I'm going to knock out these first 2 first because I already have them downloaded, and then the If We Were Villains I'll pick up next. Of the Atlas Six and Hellbent, I have downloaded both of these like immediately as soon as I got my TBR, because I wanted to make sure I had the audio book available. So the Atlas Six is due back in 6 days, and Hellbent is due in 13 days. So we are going to be jumping into Atlas Six first, so that way I can try to get it done before it gets pulled from my shelf on Libby. So we are currently getting ready to go into the office. And so while I'm getting ready, I'm going to go ahead and start the Atlas Six on Audible while I'm doing my makeup, and I'll be listening to it in the car on the way to the office and then also on the way back. And hopefully me being intimidated by this book is not going to be as bad as I originally thought. So we are going to go ahead, and we have the Atlas Six plug. Oh, hello, glare. There we go. We have the Atlas Six ready to go, and we are going to start.
Macmillan Audio presents The Atlas Six.
I need to reduce the speed.
Read by James Patrick.
We're going to start at one speed, regular normal speed, until I figure out
Caitlin Kelly,
how I like the narrators.
David A. Monteith, and Steve West.
So this one seems to be the narrator just called out the introductory section just called out a ton of actors. So it sounds like all of the characters are going to have their own voices in this book. So hopefully that makes it much more enjoyable whenever I'm listening to it. Anytime there's like dual narration for the different characters, I definitely am grasping the book much easier than if it was just one narration trying to alter their voice to kind of be the different characters. So we will see how this goes.
Beginning.
Don't need someone to save me, no, and don't come running to blame me. that something's off. The way you look and how you pause when you talk, I think I said enough. You said your love for me something brand new. You said this is something you would never do. Here we are in your car. Let me see who you are, who you really are. Yeah. Don't need you here to say you're sorry, 'cause if you're gonna leave me, then just do it. Don't
Was coincidentally
Okay. It's a couple of, actually not just a couple, it's several days later. And I finally have an update on the Atlas 6. So I finished this last night, and I must say this was a challenge. I fell asleep. I can't even tell you how many times listening to this. So I had this on Audible because I not on Audible, I had it on Libby. I found the audiobook on Libby, and I fully expected that before I went into this that I might need the audiobook, and I was 100% right, but even that didn't help. So I was listening to this and reading this physical copy, and I didn't like it. I ended up rating this 2 stars. And the thing was, I felt like nothing was happening. And so when I was listening to it, now I am a person, I have many times read a book up until like 2 a.m. knowing I have to be at work at 6 a.m. I will still stay and be reading at 2 a.m. and I have to force myself not to read so I can go to sleep and have enough time to get somewhat of a decent enough night's sleep for me to go to work the next morning. So I have definitely been someone who can stay up very late reading. I don't have a problem reading late at night. This book, I was listening to it on Audible or Libby or what. I was listening to it on audiobook, and I every single night would fall asleep with it going in my ear at like 10 a.m. I would be passed out, and I could not make myself stay awake, and I had to keep restarting because I would fall asleep and I couldn't remember where I fell asleep at. And I think the reason is that so the story is following 6 people who are like the best of the best of the best of the best magicians, or Medians as they are called in this book. But essentially they're magicians, they can do magic. And this like Alexandria Society, which is like this society that holds so much of the knowledge of the Medians, and it's a very exclusive society, and they hold the knowledge in their like headquarters. They have a library, they have all this stuff, and so they every so many years will find 6 people who are the best of the best of the best of the best, bring them into the society, and in the end these 6 become 5. Someone is eliminated. And so it's these 6 people who get into the society. And honestly, that's literally it. So the first 20% I enjoyed. I did not have it. It was kind of boring, but I was able to like still pay attention enough, because it was basically each of these individual 6 people, they're like where they were and what they do and all that type of thing, and them coming into the society. And then there's like this big event that happens where they all kind of get together and have to like do something as a team, which was okay. I did get a little confused because things were happening, or like they split up into like teams of 2, and it would like you would focus on just one team of 2, and the other 2 teams would go off and do their thing, but it was kind of like, oh, that happened, but you don't really know the impact of what that it was weird. Like, I don't quite know what happened to the other 2 teams. They apparently succeeded, but there was no discussion. There was nothing on what they actually did, but it referenced it later. Like something that one person in the team did apparently was so like appalling that the other person on that team just like couldn't believe what he did. But you don't know about it until later. And then I was trying to figure out when this happened. And that's when I realized it happened during that event. It was weird. But anyways, so this big event happened as a team. And then literally nothing happened until like 80%. Like, I don't know. Like, they were talking about, they had studies and like they would like their certain task or the subject they were studying on at event or like during this month was time, and then they were focused on space, and then they would focus on whatever, but it had no impact. And I don't it was just boring. I couldn't make myself stay awake. It was really a struggle. I'm honestly really, really, really glad I did not buy the next book of the series. I cannot tell you how tempted I was, because I'm definitely the person that if I buy the first book of the series, I want to buy the rest of the books. But I did not do it with this one because this book intimidated me, so I was kind of scared to buy the rest of the books, and I'm very, very glad that I did not. So this was a 2-star. I'm definitely going to be probably putting this in my unhaul at the end of the year, because I really don't think I will ever want to reread this or continue on with the series, because there was so much that did not happen in this book. And this book was 379 pages, 380 pages. And I don't care. I don't care. I don't understand the people. I did go onto Goodreads after I finished this book, and there were people who had the same thoughts as me of, what did I just read? There was nothing that happened. It was horrible. But then there were some people who were like, this is a literary masterpiece. I don't understand that. I don't understand the 5 stars. I don't even understand the 4 stars. Did I read a different book? Because this is not a 4-star, not a 5-star. Not even a 3-star. It wasn't even an average book. Like I said, fell asleep. I fell asleep. I can't even, more than 5 times I fell asleep reading this book. And I could not. I couldn't. I have no words. I have words. Actually, I do have words, but they're not good. So I read it. Kind of wish I didn't. But on to the next book. So the next book that I also have the audiobook on Libby, and I have to finish this one next because it is due the next go round. I think it's due in 9 days. So I have 9 days to finish Hellbent. So this is the book I'm reading next. This is book 2 of Ninth House. I did actually enjoy Ninth House once I got the audiobook of it. I could not follow when I was just reading it physically. Once I got the audiobook, it flew by. I really enjoyed it. I liked the book after that piece. So I have this now on audiobook with Libby. I also have I did have the digital version that I got off of Libby as well. So I am also reading this on Kindle. But I have the physical copy if I feel like I want to pick it up and annotate it, just on the off chance that I do like this. Now, this book that I have is the Kindle or the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. And I think the last, on Ninth House, I had the Kindle edition, not the Kindle edition. On Ninth House, I also had the Barnes & Noble edition. And in that edition, the extra piece, excuse you, motorcycle, the extra piece that you get in the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition is the journal, I think, and you have a bunch of actual written notes from whoever. It's in cursive. They're really, really hard to read because I can read cursive, but sometimes some of the the words I can't. It's like doctor's handwriting. But anyways, so I will be able to read this on Kindle or the Libby digital version. And I'm excited. So I do have this on audiobook. I read a little bit of it yesterday. I'm at 3% on Libby. I don't know if it'll focus, but it's right here. I have 3% read of Hellbent right now. And so that's the next book that we're going to be reading. And I'm really hoping that this book goes much better than the Atlas 6. So that is what we are going to be doing now. All right, it is a couple of days later. I'm gonna do a quick check-in. I do not get any videos of me actually reading because I'm typically reading in the car, which I'll try to do today, or reading like in the dark on my Kindle on my couch over here. So it's really not a very good image. So we're going to do an update now. So I am about halfway through. I am reading it on my Kindle because I do have the digital version through Libby. So I've been using this primarily just for status of where I am, because while Libby or Kindle does say like how far away you are at the until the end of the book, I just physically, I like to see. I'm a visual person. I like to actually see where I'm at. So I do have the hard copy along with the digital copy and the audio book copy of this book. So I'm hitting it every way that you can read. I'm doing it when it comes to this book. So, but for the book, it is going so well. Dark Academia is kind of a challenge. I did not have a very successful experience with the previous book that I just read. And so this one was, again, book 2 of Ninth House. And that book I ended up having to do on audio just because it took me a while to actually get into the story and like understanding what was going on. There was Latin that was being talked about in here, and I don't know Latin. And so for this book, I thought I was going to go ahead and get the audio version anyways, just to be on the safe side. And I think, honestly, I probably could do the reading without the audiobook. It's grabbing my attention, and it's not anything that's too difficult for me to understand. It wasn't like the first book. For some reason in the first book, there was a lot of Latin, I feel, if I'm remembering correctly, but this one has only had a few instances where like they speak Latin. And obviously, like I said, I don't know how to speak Latin, so I just kind of skim over that part. But in the audiobook, you actually get to listen to it in Latin. But it's going really well. So this book is basically taking Alex Stern and Dawes, Pamela Dawes, and then there's Turner, who is like the police detective, and they are trying to get Darlington. I always want to call him Darlington, but I feel like it's Darrington. No, it's Darlington. They're trying to get Darlington out of hell because he's stuck in purgatory, and they are trying to get him out. Everyone believes that Darlington is dead, and they don't believe that any additional steps need to be taken to try to get him out. Alex knows otherwise, and so right now, at the 50-something% mark, they have just gotten down into hell to try to get Darlington's soul. So it's going really well. I am enjoying the audiobook. I am also very much enjoying the story, and I'm really excited to see how this is going to wrap up. I believe that there is a third book coming out, if not more. But this book was released. When was it published? I want to say it was published back in 2022. And I don't know, for some reason, I would have thought the other book would have already come out. But maybe I'm wrong. I'm not an author. I'm not a publisher. I don't know how long it actually takes to publish books. But I believe a third book is here or going to be coming soon, and I don't know about the rest of the series. I don't know how long it's supposed to be, so I don't know if this is going to end on a cliffhanger. I really have no idea how the rest of the story is going to go. I have no idea if they're going to get Darlington. I don't know if anything's going to go sideways. I don't know if anything else is going to happen. Like, I'm not getting any kind of inclination as to what I think is actually going to happen in this book. So we are going to find out. I am going to be doing some reading in my car this afternoon. I have to go pick up my girl, my oldest, from school. So I'll be sitting in the car for about 40 minutes or so waiting for her to get out of school, just so that way I'm not stuck in the insanely long car line. For those of you who have kids, you know car pickup lines, they are intense. So I get there a good 40 minutes to an hour early just so I can sit and read my book and I don't have to worry about it. So we're going to be doing some reading this afternoon and also doing some more reading tonight. And hopefully I would love to, by the end of tonight, be able to say that I'm at 75%. Excuse me. I would love to say that at the end of tonight, I'm at 75% done with this book. I would really be, people won't leave me alone. I'm really excited to see how this is going to wrap up. So I'm hoping I'll be able to get pretty close to the end. of this book by tonight. I'm not going to be able to get it done. This is a lot of rambling because my work has distracted me and now I don't know where I was going. Other than, I'm going to do some reading tonight. We'll see how far I get.
I just gotta know if you're gonna leave me, then just do it. Let's be honest for a second.
All right. I just finished. So it is the next day. I was able to get to actually 80% last night between reading in my car when I was picking up my girls, or my girl at high school, along with her friends, and reading last night and listening last night. I was able to get to 80%. Actually, I think like 83%. And then I finished the rest of the book this morning. So I finished Hellbent. I ended up giving this a 3.25. This was a good book. I did enjoy it. So it was essentially the continuation of Ninth House. I don't really want to say a whole lot because it is a second book in a series. And if I tell you what's going on, it's going to spoil the first book. But generally, the plot I enjoyed. I enjoyed the characters. The thing was that I think I'm not a dark academia girl. I don't know what it is. It took me so long to get into the Atlas Six, and then this took me about 4 days to finish. And books, usually I can read books like within a day or two. And this is, let me see, 478 pages. And with this being 478 pages, I could actually get done with this book in like 2 days, but it took me about 4, maybe a little bit more. And I don't know. I'm just not a dark academia girly. And I've actually made the decision that I am not going to read If We Were Villains in this vlog. So we are only going to be talking about the Atlas Six and Hellbent in this vlog. I don't think I will be able to read If We Were Villains and not put myself in a book slump. So it is, I don't have my watch on me. It's like August the 15th or 16th maybe. I don't remember exactly when it is. It's the middle of August. And so far, I have only read like 4 books. And 2 of them are right here. And typically by now, I would have read double that. And I feel myself not wanting to read because I'm just not enjoying the books that I'm reading. Or they're not books that I think I'm going to enjoy. And so it's making me unwilling, or I just haven't had the desire or want to pick up these books. And I don't want to add another book into that same situation. So we're not going to be reading If We Were Villains. We will put that right back on my bookshelf, and maybe that will be read some other time. Maybe I'll decide I want to read another dark academia book or mystery thriller. I'm not sure what exactly genre that is, but we'll attempt that later. But right now, we're reading these 2 books because I can't make myself read another one. So with that is gonna be it for this video. I am super excited to finally get into the rest of my TBR because I have several books that I have been really wanting to read, and I'm hoping they're gonna make me excited to read again because this was a rough week. Reading 2 books this last week, actually longer than a week, has been very challenging to me. And I am ready to get back to the books that I love, that I'm excited about, and I think I'm really going to enjoy. So with that, if you have not subscribed, please make sure you do so. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you like this video, make sure you hit that button to like it. And I will see everybody in my next video. Bye.